Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome here to the Flatout Racing Network's coverage of the season finale for the Talladega Nights Fast and Furious Truck Series at Talladega Nights Super Speedway. 8 races lead up to tonight, 4 drivers with a chance to be able to take the championship. It's Ken Roberts versus Craig Hagley, Steven Brandstetter, and Gary Heiser. Highest finisher will end up walking away with the championship trophy. I'm Seth Cole, and tonight we're getting ready for 66 laps of racing. Qualifying has just concluded, and it's time for us to now find out who is going to start where in tonight's season finale. So,
You were moved. User joined your channel.
now time to bring you the starting lineup for tonight's season finale. Let's find out who's starting on the pole.
Starting first, driving the Black Rifle Coffee Chevrolet Silverado, number 38, Rodney Sullins, Bentonville, Arkansas.
Starting second, the 931 Pepsi Silverado Chevy is Robert Breedlove out of South Carolina.
Starting in third place, the 388 Gray Ghost, painted by Frank Divins from Big Stone Gap, Virginia. Thank you all you racers out there. Good luck to everybody.
Starting fourth, 55, in the Tostitos Chevrolet, painted by R.D. Solons. Good luck, everybody.
Starting fifth, Big Stone Gap, Denny Carroll, truck painted by R.D. Solons.
Starting sixth, number 043, Brian Loveland, the Peach Knee High Dodge, painted by Frank Divins.
Starting seventh, number 43, Bob Dixon from Macon, Georgia. Thanks for coming out, Seth.
Starting in eighth, number 56, Jeffrey Elliott, driving the Chevy Talladega Nights Camaro out of Mooresville, North Carolina. It's an honor to have you, Seth.
Starting ninth, number 23, Doug Hewlick from Plum, Pennsylvania, driving the Toyota Tundra Coker College. Go Cobras!
Starting in 10th, Mike Mangialardi driving the 029 Ford Mustang. Shout out to my friends watching at the Rainier Room, and welcome aboard, Seth Cole.
Starting 11th, the number 63 Hubcap Annie Chevrolet Camaro. I'm Keith Bynum. Good luck, everybody.
Starting 12th.
The starting 12, the number 12 Lift Ride Share by Gary Mingus from Tallahassee, Florida. Good to have you, Seth. It is real good.
Nate Balser, number 079, the ASPCA Chevy Silverado out of Seattle, Washington. Good luck to you 4 guys in the chase, and good luck, everybody.
Starting 14th in the 82 West Virginia Tourism Ford F-150, Craig Hagley out of Canaan Valley, West Virginia.
Starting 15th, number 21 Chevy. I want to do a shout out to my sons Christian and Corey, grandkids Adrian, Asher, and Asa, and my friends Derek and Zach. Good luck.
Starting outsider in 16th, Mark Paglia, driving the Motorcraft Ford. Thoughts go out to Greg Palmer, who lost his brother recently. And the race is for him.
Starting in 17th, Steven Brandstetter from Randolph, Oklahoma, driving the 510 Miller Lite Ford.
Starting 18th, the 088 Greg Lovell for Big Stone Gap, Virginia. Good to have you, Seth. You'll do a great job. You always do. And good luck to you, top 4.
Starting 19, Brian Rawson, Heath, Texas, Abilene Ford number 6. Thanks, Rodney, for all the great paint schemes. Thanks for coming, Seth.
Starting 20th, number 7, Bobby Farrell out of Frederica, Delaware. In the Victory Junction, Adam Petty Tribute Ford F-150 by JB45 Designs.
Starting 21st is the number 24 Ram truck, driven by Graham McDonald from Sarnia, Ontario.
Starting in 22nd, Ulysses de Wrecking Ball Sandoval, driving the Guatemalan Tribute 502 Toyota Tundra, celebrating the Independence Day of Guatemala. And welcome to Talladega Nights, Mr. Setko.
Starting in 23rd position is the number 9, Chris Elliott, out of Mooresville, North Carolina, driving the red Dodge Doritos truck, painted by Rodney Sellens. That's a hell of a good race. Good luck, guys.
Start number 24, number 45 Chevrolet Batman car from Byron, Georgia. Good luck, guys. Thanks, Seth. What you do for us, brother?
Starting 25th, number 3, Gary Heiser, Jim Goodrich Chevrolet out of Mount Sterling, Kentucky.
Starting 26th, the number 091, Sean Dotson from Fenton, Michigan, driving the Quaker State Chevy Silverado. Good luck, everyone.
And starting 27th and last is Alex Moe, Riverside, California, driving the 48 Lowe's Chevrolet. What's good, Seth? Good to see you.
There's your starting lineup for tonight's season finale. Best of luck to all you gentlemen. I know you're put on a heck of a show. We'll be talking to the Final Four in just a few moments. Good luck, everybody.
Thanks, Seth.
Thanks,
Appreciate
Seth.
it, buddy.
You were moved. User joined your channel.
And we will be talking to those Final Four contenders, kind of getting their thoughts pre-race, their approach to tonight's event. Again, 66 laps of racing. It will be one times
User joined your
wear, so it will
channel.
be a little bit longer of a fuel run, a little bit longer for these drivers to plan out their strategy.
User
Maybe
was
pit
moved to
road
your channel.
will come into play. We're going to have to wait and see. It may be a kind of survival of the
User was
fittest for
moved
these
to your
Final Four.
channel.
Have to pick their moments to try and maybe avoid the big one if it looms around the corner.
User
I
was moved
believe
to
we've
your
got our
channel.
Final Four here on standby. Ken Roberts, Craig Hagley, Steven Brandsetter, and Gary Heiser. Gentlemen, congratulations on advancing into the Final Four. Now, in no particular order, going to ask you guys a series of questions here for all four of you. I know you don't want to give too much away. Obviously, all four of you competitors here tonight, each one of you wanted to win that championship. But with it being a super speedway race, it being a super speedway series, do you have right now a strategy coming into tonight's finale?
Well, Seth, I know for me, just try to stay out front, try to keep the nose clean, just those last 20 laps, and that's when the chess game starts. So that's kind of how I go about it. So, but I'm not sure about the other guys.
Yeah, the number 3, Jim Goodrich Chevrolet is going to start at the back. We're going to run back there most of the race, try to stay out of trouble, do some good pit stops, and be around at the end.
I just want to keep the 82 clean all night and wait until that last pit stop to see how everything shakes out. Hopefully, at the end of the night, it comes out at the front. If not, I'm just thankful I got to race with a great group of guys.
Yeah, I'm going to try to work my way to the front best I can, quick as I can, but I'm going to try to stay out of the wrecks too. So we'll see how that works out.
Sounds like the general consensus, try and stay out of the wrecks. Obviously, here tonight with Super Speedway Racing, you can't win it alone. How much wheeling and dealing did you guys do here during the course of this past week, trying to line up people to work with you here tonight to get you to the front, keep you at the front?
Well, Seth, before we have our races here, we have sprint races. We just run little quick 10-lap races. So I made it a point to help a lot of guys during the sprint races. So I hope they remember that when the big race happens.
I think a lot of it boils down to just being around the right group of guys at the right time. Usually towards the end of the race, everybody's pretty much got their own agenda, and just hope you're following the right line with those guys. They push you to the front.
Like Ken said, just worked with other people, and hopefully at the end of the night, they'll stay glued back there and help push me to the front.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to plan who you're going to work with at the start of the race because you never know who's going to be in it or where you're going to be. So you just kind of got to wait till toward the end and figure out who you can work with.
Now, we mentioned about the fact here before we ended up having the starting lineup in driver intros about the fact that it is one times wear, so a little bit longer of a run for you guys to be able to make it on fuel. But do you think pit road is going to play a factor into the outcome of tonight's race, maybe for the championship? Do you have a strategy in place for that, or do you think most of the action is going to take place above the double yellow line?
Well, I think pit road plays a huge part in these super speedway races. Because if you make a even a small mistake getting onto pit road, or it can really cost you on the track. You miss a second or two, and you may lose the big pack or the lead pack. So pit road is critical, getting in and out. No penalties. You got to watch who you come in with. What position you come in. If you come in a big pack, are you in the back of that big pack, or are you in the front of that big pack? I mean, it really plays a huge role. The racing on the track's one thing, and then pit road's another. So, but yeah, you try to have really good pit stops is critical to these races.
I totally agree with what Ken just said. I mean, your race can be won or lost on pit road. You gotta execute it perfectly in order to be able to come back out on track to blend in with the big pack if they didn't pit with you. And like you said, you've got to find the guys that can get in there, get on speed, get in the pit, get out in a good time. Just hang with those guys if you can.
Yeah, pretty much echoing what they said. And biggest thing is to guarantee that you don't make any stupid mistakes on pit road, get caught speeding, enter wrong, and take yourself out by just a small mental mistake.
Yeah, I agree. With this group of drivers here, if you make one mistake, you're probably going to be out of it.
Now, with Super Speedway Racing, final question for you guys. It's door-to-door, bumper-to-bumper, close quarter racing, double wide, 3 wide. Obviously, you've got to be aware of everybody that's around you to make sure that there's no contact, no accidental bumper grab. But how much you guys going to have your radars out to know where each other are going to be on track here tonight? Because as we know, highest finisher is going to win that championship.
Oh yeah, definitely. From the start of the race, I'll have all three of these guys on my radar. Keeping a good eye where they are. Who they're running with. See what packs they're running with. So that's a big part of it too. But yeah, it's just an honor to be with these guys. I mean, there's some great racers in here that we made the last 4 of us. We finally made it to the end. So good luck to every one of you guys. Appreciate you guys.
Thank you, Ken. Yeah, definitely going to have these other guys on my radar. You're not really going to worry about them until it comes down to the last pit stop to see how many laps we have left. That's when you really got to dig in and get where you need to be with the right group and try to move to the front.
Yeah, I agree. And you just kind of got to work that out as you go through the race, actually. So you really don't know.
Ken Roberts, Craig Hagley, Stephen Brandstetter, and Gary Heiser. Once again, congratulations to you 4 on advancing into the championship battle here tonight in this season finale. Best of luck to all 4 of you, and we'll see at the end of the night which one of you is going to be hoisting that championship trophy. Best of luck.
Thank
you.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate it.
User
These
was
4
moved out of your
drivers
channel.
get themselves
User
prepared
was
for
moved out of your
tonight's
channel.
season
User was
finale.
moved
You
out
ended
of your
up hearing on the driver
User was
introductions
moved
and
out
the
of your
starting
channel.
lineup. A couple of drivers starting up towards the front, a driver starting mid-pack, and a driver starting towards the rear of the field. Will starting track position be important? We'll have to wait and see, as happy hour currently waning down and these drivers moments away from when they will prepare to take the final green flag of the season. Interesting to note, if you're wondering if there's potentially a favorite statistically coming into tonight of those final 4, you'd probably have to put the ball in the court of the number 3 of Gary Heiser. He has 2 victories coming into tonight. He won the 4th and 7th races of the season. The other 3, they have not gone to victory lane, but they've been consistent. They were able to then advance here into this final 4. You don't have to win here tonight to be able to win the championship. You just have to finish ahead of the other 3 competitors. Plus, also factor in that there's another 25 some odd drivers in the field. They want to end out the season with a checkered flag also. Let's run really quickly here through the drivers that have, during the course of these 8 races, been able to find victory lane. Race 1 went to Dan Lovell. Denny Carroll went to victory lane in race number 2. Race 3, it was Brian Wolf. Gary Heiser in race 4. John Godfrey, race 5. Race 6, went to Javier Negron. Race 7, as we mentioned, went to Gary Heiser, his second win of the season, and John Godfrey joined him as a two-time winner, winning the 8th race of the season. Getting ready here now, moments away from when these trucks will start gridding up on pit road in preparation for tonight's 66-lap event. Should be a good one here tonight. The trucks, the CWS 2015 mod, going to be running here tonight at the Talladega Nights Super Speedway. Same configuration, same distance as Talladega Super Speedway, so that start-finish line will be down between the front straightaway trioval and turn number 1. That extra 200-300 feet of racetrack could be very important here tonight, not only for who might get the final checkered flag of the season, but who eventually will be the champion of the Fast and Furious Truck Series. While we're waiting for practice happy hour, that is, to wind down here, want to remind everybody to be back here again tomorrow night, 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, as we've got more Talladega Nights action coming to you here from Talladega Nights Super Speedway. It's the Shake and Bake Series season finale, the championship on the line there, where we're going to be having our final 5 competing for that trophy. All right, it is time for these drivers to line up on pit road, get themselves both physically and mentally prepared for 66 circuits around this 2.66 mile super speedway. You heard on that starting lineup, Rodney Sullins capturing the pole position in the number 38. And right alongside of him is going to be the 931. Trying to familiarize myself with some of the drivers' name. Robert Breedlove in that 931 will make up the first row. You see Ken Roberts, one of our final 4, going to be the highest starter of the final 4 drivers. He'll be on the outside of row number 2 in the 4th position. Wait for everybody to get gridded up here. And they will roll off of pit lane behind the Chevrolet Silverado pace truck. It will get ready to turn them loose next time they come around out of turn number 4. Well, let us know in the comments who you're rooting for. Are you on Team Roberts, Team Hagley, Team Brandstetter, or Team Heiser for the championship? And if you're tuning in to watch your favorite driver, let us know who that is in the comments as well. Who are you rooting for to win this race? Get that final checkered flag of the season. A lot of fast trucks in this field, a lot of very talented Super Speedway Series drivers. A lot of different Super Speedway type races take place over here on Talladega Nights. Fast and Furious Truck Series, the Shake and Bake Series. I believe just this past weekend, they actually ran one of the Talladega Nights team races. I've had the honor and privilege to take part in a couple of those. Those are very interesting when it comes to strategery, because you're not really out there for yourself. You're working together with a group of drivers to try and accumulate the most points as a team. Brings a very unique concept to the table. But here tonight, for the 4 drivers competing for the championship, they are out for themselves. But you heard, they all tried seeing if they could get some allies to work with them during the course of the evening. Ken Roberts talking about even working with a bunch of drivers during the sprint races that run prior to these events. Try and make some allies that way. I worked with you, please work with me, and with the championship hanging in the balance, friends are going to be very, very important. Pace truck makes the left-hand turn to pit road. We are ready to go under the lights at Talladega Nights Super Speedway. Rodney Sullins and Robert Breedlove bring us down through the trioval. Flagman has the green flag in hand. And it is waving. We are underway in the season finale for the Fast and Furious Truck Series. Heard from our Final Four, they said they wanted to make sure they avoided any possible early issues. As soon as that green flag drops, the adrenaline kicks in for these drivers, and they start to get anxious for double and three wide. Already seeing a couple of trucks up there in that third groove. Inside line foraging ahead. Rodney Sullins, Ian Lovell, and Denny Carroll, I believe, are all clear on the bottom. Bob Dixon there as well, trying to get himself clear of the 931 of Robert Breedlove. Now you've got the third line really starting to gain more drivers. I believe that was Doug Hewlick jumped up there to lead the third line. Got Craig Hagley, fan in the chat there, Donnie Garrett. Bobby Carroll cheering for Denny Carroll here tonight in that 41, right now in the third position. Benito McCowan cheering on the Lovell brothers, Greg and Dan. Right now, Dan is in the second position. Greg is currently scored in 16th, at least the last time by. We'll see if that positioning improves. Top 5, 6, now 7 have gotten themselves cleared in the inside line. We are 3 wide from 8th place on back. The one driver who's in the middle of that is one of our Final Four competitors, the 55 there of Ken Roberts, who's going to tuck up in front of the 043 of Brian Lovell. Brian Rawson on that inside line. Here comes the 08 of Greg Lavelle. He's now up to the 50, or I'm sorry, that's the 510, I'm sorry, the Miller Lite Ford F-Series of Steven Brandstetter. That's one of our playoff contenders, who is now up to the 8th position. As a matter of fact, I believe Steven is now the highest running of the Final Four competitors. I'm double checking on that just to make sure. Yes, he is the highest running right now, so if the race were to end at this point in time, he would be the champion, but still very early on. Still 3 wide around the 9th position. Top side, that's the 82 in that third lane. Craig Hagley with Ken Roberts trying to work their way to the front. They're battling for a championship, but they're also working together to try and gain track position. Got Brian Lavelle, Doug Hewlick up there with him as well. Trying to make out who that other truck was up there. I believe that was Mike Mangialardi. That also is up there in the 029. Yes, indeed it was. Brian Rawson trying to get a run to make a move there on Steven Brandstetter, but might slipped up a little bit there into turn 1, losing some ground to the 510. Graham McDonald right behind him, the 24. The Mopar Dodge Ram. Randy Waugh right now in the 7th position, running behind the 079 of Nate Balser. Balser in turn behind the 63 of Keith Bynum, who looked like he wanted to make a move potentially on Bob Dixon for 4th place. Had a good run, but I don't think that Nate Balser was tucked up close enough to be able to help push that top line. And they'll get themselves back out to single file amongst the top 8. Place will be under contest. Brian Rawson on the top. And Graham McDonald on the bottom. Right behind Graham McDonald, you've got Ulysses Sandoval in the 502. Whoop, 3 wide. Ken Roberts now moves to the middle. Leaves Craig Hagley out to dry. 82 might start dropping back, although he's going to pick up Jeffrey Elliott in the 56. Third in our grid, Ulysses Sandoval running the Guatemalan Independence Day truck here tonight. Always cool when we end up seeing trucks with special meanings on them, and even more special when they end up getting good finishes. A lot of movement up here at the front. Denny Carroll has been able to now move up to the second position. They shuffled out Dan Lovell, in the 388. Bob Dixon now moves up to third, Keith Bynum to fourth, and Nate Balser into the fifth position. Dan's going to drop back here through the middle groove. Randy Watt also got shuffled out by Nate Balser. So those two, the 388 and the 21, starting to free fall a bit. Dan Lavelle was third last time by. This time by crosses the line in 12th. So he lost 9 positions in the span of 1 lap. That is how quickly things can happen here at a super speedway like Talladega Nights Super Speedway. Rodney Sullins, though, has led every lap so far. 7 laps completed, lap 8 on the board. Again, I mentioned the fact that a little bit longer fuel window than we are used to seeing during the Rolling Thunder Gaming Talladega Challenge Series. They run on 2X, so if the math is correct, that means that these drivers, their fuel window is going to be somewhere in the region of about 38 to 40 laps. So if we were to end up making our way past around lap 26, 27, 28 and have a caution come out, I think it's pretty safe to say everybody could come to pit road and be able to make it the rest of the scheduled distance on what they've got in the tank. As starting to get racy a little bit further towards the front now, around the 6th or 7th position. Brian Rawson continuing to try and lead that outside line. Ken Roberts, Craig Hagley, Jeffrey Elliott in that group. I believe that is Chris Elliott in the 9 there as well. And Lovell has now gotten himself into that outside line. Mark Paglia also there in the outside line. Big gap from Keith Bynum back to Nate Balser on the inside. That is good news for that second lane, whose draft looks pretty tight right now. Brian Rawson's going to make some big strides here going into turn 1. Yeah, he went from battling side-by-side for 5th and now side-by-side for 4th place. And if they continue this momentum, Brian Rawson within the next lap is more than likely going to go to the lead. I'll forget the next lap and a half. It might be in this next half lap because he's alongside Rodney Sullins for the top position. Brian Rawson in that Mark Martin throwback. Not quite going to be able to get the race lead here off of turn 4. Let's see if he's going to be able to maybe lead at the stripe. I think he's actually clear in that middle line. Yeah, no contest. First driver other than Rodney Sullins to lead a lap tonight, and it will be of Abilene number 6, as now we're split 3 wide. Ken Roberts, Craig Hagley, and Jeffrey Elliott move up to that 3rd lane. I don't know if they moved up there on purpose or if Dan Lovell and Mark Paglia kind of shot up the middle, but it is split up that outside line now. 3 trucks in that middle groove. Wow, big move there. I believe that was Randy Waugh, moved from the bottom all the way up to the top, and Ken Roberts looking to fight for the race lead. Now, should mention that for Roberts, Hagley, Brandstetter, and Heiser, it only comes down to who finishes the highest. Bonus points here in the season finale do not count towards the championship. So Ken Roberts, while he's trying to lead this lap, he would get a bonus point, but it actually would not count towards who wins the championship. It has to be the highest finisher of the 4. One thing I have noticed is we had Steven Brandstetter up there in the top 6. He's kind of fallen back there, still 6th on that inside line, but losing ground as the middle and outside line have been making strong gains. You've got Ken Roberts and Craig Hagley up here towards the front, 1st and 2nd in that 3rd groove. One driver that is yet to make his way to the front, and we heard it was going to be by design, kind of hang at the back, wait and see how things cycled out, is Gary Heiser. Gary did not get a good qualifying effort here tonight, so he started at the back of the pack anyway, just kind of riding there at the tail end of this lead group. Keeping that thing in one piece, keeping it preserved for the end of this race. There you saw right there on that inside line, the back bumper of the number 3 Goodwrench Chevrolet. The last truck on the inside line right now, which is about the safest place to be when it comes to super speedway racing. Got a better chance of avoiding a wreck if you're on that inside line, especially if the wreck takes place in the corners. Not a guarantee that you're going to miss the wreck, but you got a better chance of avoiding it because you've got that apron down there that you can utilize as an excess route, or an escape route, I should say. When you're up there on that top side, a lot of times the trucks will migrate up to the wall, and usually your gap gets closed up very, very quickly. Ken Roberts with a big push from Craig Hagley through the tri-oval. I believe he is going to lead that lap, and scoring agrees. But Ken Roberts will be the first of our championship 4 to lead a lap here this evening, after he started this race the highest in the 4th position. Craig Hagley right behind him, though. Those two battling for the championship, but they've been working together really since the drop of the green flag. Kind of the enemy of my enemy is my friend, and even with a championship hanging in the balance, that still holds true when it comes to super speedway racing. Jeffrey Elliott helped push those two up there to the front. Now he was trying to tuck down into the 3rd spot in front of Rodney Sullins, couldn't get himself cleared. He'll have Chris Elliott, his brother, right behind him, trying to continue to push that outside line further up towards the front. So far, these drivers have done a good job of keeping it clean in the first 15 laps of tonight's season finale. And the top 3, maybe top 4, are clear for the moment on that inside line. Well, we are at Talladega Nights Super Speedway. When they come back around here to the start-finish line, let's listen to what it sounds like to make a lap around this 2.66-mile super speedway, and let's do it with the Talladega Nights number 56 Chevy Silverado of Jeffrey Elliott. Jeffrey Elliott trying to do everything he can to advance that outside line. Saw him using one of the old Super Speedway Series tricks, running that inside line, letting the truck swing off the corner off of turn number 4, was trying to tow Chris Elliott and Ulysses Sandoval along with him. But it looks like now the 9 and the 602, or the 502, I'm sorry, are starting to lose ground as they're the only two up there on that top side. Jeffrey Elliott, no choice but to tuck back down on the bottom to make sure he doesn't get freight trained. And he's tucked right in front of the 388 of Dan Lavelle. Ken Roberts, Craig Hagley, the top 2. Rodney Sullins in 3rd. Denny Carroll in 4th, and Bob Dixon in 5th. Of these drivers up here inside of the top 5, only one of them has previously gone to victory lane this season, and that is Denny Carroll, winning back in race number 2. Then have to go all the way back to, I believe it's Greg Lavelle in the 16th position to find the next former winner on the season. Nope, actually you have to, oh, we got pit stops here. Dan Lavelle actually was the next driver that was a former winner here, as Bob Dixon and company coming down pit road. Brian Rawson, part of this group. Mark Paglia. Gary Mingus, the 12. We've got Tom Dixon in the 45. Mike Mangialardi on pit lane. Looks like about a half dozen drivers, 6, 7 drivers on pit road there of this group. Maybe I was incorrect. Maybe it is 2 times wear, because I think we're having more drivers coming down pit road. So it would be about the 18 to 20 lap range when they'd have to pit. We'll see. If everybody comes to pit road prior to lap 21, then you know that it's 2 times wear. Got a bunch of them coming down this time. Ooh, everybody trying to get hard on the brakes there. Oh, Rodney Sullins gets his tires in the grass. We got a spin further back there. That was Bobby Farrell and that Adam Petty throwback. No caution. It was deemed off the racing surface. Doug Hulick and Gary Heiser were in that as well. I couldn't see. I wasn't focused on the 3, but I don't know if he spun out or not. If he did, that is a pit road mistake that is costly for one of our championship 4. Steven Branstetter was also on pit lane, and so too was Ken Roberts and Craig Hagley. So all 4 of our championship 4 came down pit road on the same exact lap. Danny Carroll going to stay out an extra lap here. Let's see if he and some of these other drivers like Dan Lavelle and Keith Bynum, if they come to pit road this time. Okay, so it is 2 times wear. So it is 18, 19, 20 laps that you can make it on fuel. So, yep, so it's not 38 to 40 laps like I was saying. I saw on the website that it was 1x, but apparently it is 2 times wear, so it is the same type of numbers like we saw in the Talladega Challenge for RTG. I love the mixture there on Dan Lavelle's 338. He's got the 3 of Dale Earnhardt Sr. and the 88 of Dale Earnhardt Jr. as Tom Dixon, rather lengthy stay on pit road for the Batman machine. Trying to look to see who this race lead may cycle around to. Looks like Rodney Sullins had a very slow pit stop. We saw him with 2 tires off into the grass on pit road. Also currently checking, as we saw a number of drivers coming into pit road quite hot. Art of hot pitting. Make sure that none of them are going to be scrutinized under the speeding police gun. So far, it looks like everybody is good. Craig Hagley and Ken Roberts, I think, might end up cycling out to the race lead here. Waiting for scoring to update. Got Greg Lavelle leading the last lap. And he's right now right behind the 82 and the 55. I think he'll cycle out to 3rd position, Will Gregg. Believe that once they cross the line, 82 will jump up to P1, and indeed he does. A lot of jostling back here in the middle of what is now the lead pack. Hagley the leader. Ken Roberts will be 2nd after the cycle of pit stops. Greg Lavelle in 3rd. Denny Carroll is 4th, and it looks like 5th place is going to be Bob Dixon. We'll wait for scoring to update here before we give the rest of the lineup. I think it's updated. Brian Rawson was scored 6th last time around. Dan Lavelle in 7th. Keith Bynum, Alex Moe, and Brian Lavelle in 10th position. Nick Balser in 11th. Mark Paglia 12th. Chris Elliott 13th. Rodney Sullins, the pole sitter, 14th. Randy Waugh 15th. And Graham McDonald, I believe, is the last truck in this lead pack in the 16th position. Then you got to go back about 7, almost 8 seconds before you find Steven Branstetter, one of our championship 4 drivers. Actually, you got to go even further back to find him. Gary Heiser just got around the 510, so now he is up to 16th. Doug Hulick in 17th, Bobby Farrell 18th, 19th Gary Mingus, 20th is Ulysses Sandoval, and then Steven Branstetter is all the way back here into the 21st position. A couple of drivers having some problems on pit road as Sean Dotson's back here 23rd, Mike Mangialardi in 24th, Robert Breedlove, oh, we got a caution. So never mind the running order. All these drivers that I'm saying were having some problems on pit road. Now they've just gotten a pass as yellow flag is out, and it's Nate Balser who has gone around. Looks like over in turn 4. That'll be our first caution of the evening here at Talladega Nights Super Speedway. All 27 drivers after that round of pit stops were still on the lead lap, but a number of them from about 17th on back had lost touch with the lead group. Now they're all going to get caught back up, and we're going to have, in essence, a second start of this race. Everybody all going to be wadded up double file once again. Here's the big question. They were just on pit road. Do you stay out? Do you save fuel? Not give up the track position, or do you maybe come down pit road here and top off the fuel tank to go just a little bit further in this race? Maybe drivers towards the back half of the field might come to pit road. Let's take a look at a replay of what brought out the first caution of the evening. Focus around the 079 of Nate Balser. Over into turn number 4. Nate Balser was in the lead pack at the time. Pinpoint where the contact was. That's Randy Waugh behind him in the 21. Oh, a big checkup right there. Oh, and Randy Waugh went up and over and continued to barrel roll down the banking of turns 3 and 4. Wow, oh, and then look out oncoming traffic as they had to take evasive action to not run into the 21 coming back up the track. But it started with Keith Bynum. Bynum checked up a lot there going into turn 3. And Nate Balser gets into the back of him. Let's see if the 63 gets the apron perhaps here. Watch the red and black 63 on the left of your screen. No, he just pushed up the track, got loose. Started moving up to that middle groove, and moving up like that is going to scrub off speed. And with Nate Balser right behind him, getting his draft closed up very quickly, gets him in the left rear quarter panel, and as a wild ride for Randy Waugh in the 21. I don't know if it's one of those harmless flips here tonight. See if the camera, well, actually, I don't think the camera on the roof would have survived. Let's see if we can go inside the cockpit of the 21 and see what he saw. Prepare for a wild ride with Randy Waugh here into turn 3. Wow. Just when you think the barrel roll is over, it then kind of counter rolls. And then the banking there of turn 3 carries on the momentum of that tumble. And there you saw that group of about 5 or 6 coming into view there, and had to take evasive maneuver as he was pulling back up the racetrack there. Caution out for the first time here tonight. I think we've got the drivers coming to pit road here under the second lap of caution. Gary Heiser stays out and leads a lap. Again, though, no bonus points count towards the championship. Randy Waugh on pit road as well in the 21. It'll be interesting to see. I'm not all that particularly familiar with the damage model of the CWS 2015 mod, so I don't know visibly just how bad the damage is on Randy Waugh's 21 after that barrel roll. He might be okay. The only way we're going to officially find out is once these trucks get back green. We'll see if he's able to stay up in the pack, keep in touch with them. There are different types of damage in super speedway racing. The easiest one to tell is when the truck is completely done, when it is completely toast. But there are occasions where a truck is able to stay up in the lead pack provided they have someone behind them to push. Aren't really able to generate runs in the slipstream of somebody. Usually those aren't the trucks you want out leading a line to the front either. Normally it's like you put a big parachute out there and that line goes nowhere. And then you end up having, well, ironically enough, a harmless flip. Yeah, there is such a thing in super speedway racing here in 2003 where you can go into a flip, go into a tumble, sustain minimal damage, and still be up to speed as if nothing ever happened. Hopefully the latter is the case for Randy Waugh. Hopefully have all 27 of our drivers still up to speed when we go back green. Gary Mingus staying out. believe he and Jeffrey Elliott are the only two drivers who did not come to pit road here under this caution. They may dive onto pit lane here. We should be taking the 1 to green this next time around. If they do stay out, it'll be Gary Mingus and Jeffrey Elliott, the front row. If they come to pit road, it will be Greg Laville and Denny Carroll will be the front row. Let's see. Here's the $1 million question. Do the 12 and the 56 pit? Are they staying out? Remember, it was only about 3-4 laps ago when these drivers were all on pit road, so it's not like they are absolutely desperate for fuel. But I did see a handful of drivers diving onto pit lane there, led by Mark Paglia. More than likely to top off the fuel tank. Well, it's more than a few. You've got about half the field coming down here. Chris Elliott, Graham McDonald, Doug Kulik, Ulysses Sandoval, Mike Mangialardi. A lot of drivers there. Robert Breedlove. Heiser's back down pit road. Randy Waugh's back down pit road. There's Alex Moe. Gary Mingus going to elect the top side here, it looks like, for the upcoming restart. So Jeffrey Elliott will line up on the bottom. Third place, Greg Lovell will be on the inside line. Denny Carroll, fourth place, will be up top. Then it'll be Dan Lovell, Craig Hagley, Ken Roberts, Brian Lovell, Brian Rawson, and Bob Dixon. That is your scheduled top 10 for the upcoming first restart of the night. Update after the drivers that came off pit road of where your championship 4 drivers will be restarting. Craig Hagley will be the highest of them. 6th, Ken Roberts right with him in 7th. Steven Brandstetter will be 13th. And we saw the 3 of Gary Heiser on pit road. He will restart 27th, shotgun on the field. All 4 of our championship competitors, though, to my knowledge, have been able to make it through the first third of this race clean. They'll have a 100% truck left to fight with in the upcoming 2/3 of tonight's event. Also, just notice when we go back green, we are going to be super, super close, folks, on the drivers that just came to pit road being able to make it on one more pit stop. Lap 28 will go on the board, so if we kind of average out the 19-lap run, that'd be around lap 47, which, guess what that is? 20 laps to go. That's if this thing stays green to the end. But it's super speedway racing. We know drivers get really anxious when it comes down to the closing stages, so the flagman may still have a job left to do here as Gary Mingus on the top side, ready to get this event back underway. Flagman waiting to throw the green. It's back in the air here at Talladega Nights Super Speedway. Great jump there for Gary Mingus. He's going to clear Jeffrey Elliott to the point. Elliott will tuck into second. Those two might have executed the Joey Logano coined okie dokie. Denny Carroll in the third position, now jumps up to the top side there with Gary Mingus, and now he'll go even higher, goes up to the third line. Gary Mingus going to get stuck in the sucker hole as Jeffrey Elliott in control of the race lead now. Right behind him, he's got 2 of the Lovells. Whoa! Near contact there between Bobby Farrell and Gary Mingus. Mingus trying to find his way down to the inside. He might have to wait to tuck in behind Bob Dixon to do so. Now he's actually going to stay in that middle groove, forcing Keith Bynum up to the third lane. Now as Mingus moves down, we pushed up there up a 2. Got his hands full there with that Dodge Ram. The Lyft sponsorship, and there's plenty of lift in that truck right now. A lot of air moving around. As Jeffrey Elliott, Brian Lovell, and Dan Lovell, the top 3. Ken Roberts has gotten himself cleared of Craig Hagley by about 3-4 trucks. So now he is firmly in control of the championship in the 4th position, and Brian Rawson currently in the 5th position. Bobby Farrell, that Adam Petty tribute throwback. Remember, we saw him get spun around when they came to pit road the first time. It didn't bring out a caution, but he spun around at the entrance of pit road. Good comeback after that. He's now up in the 6th position. Bob Dixon right behind him in 7th place. Gary Mingus is trying to battle for 8th place with Craig Hagley. Now Hagley with a big run down the back straightaway will clear Mingus, clear Dixon. Now he'll look to clear Denny Carroll. Big push there from Brian Lovell in the 043. Only 2 trucks up there, but they're making it work against about 5, 6, 7 trucks on the inside line. It is a little broken up from Roberts back to Rawson, back to Farrell. Maybe that's why the second lane's getting the momentum that it is. Keith Bynum up there trying to draft up to Brian Lovell. Ulysses Sandoval jumps up there as well in the 502. And we got a 3rd lane forming. Mark Paglia, Rodney Sullins, the Doug Kulik and Mike Mangialardi back there trying to make something happen as Denny Carroll now up to the top. Denny trying to join John Godfrey and Gary Heiser as a 2-time winner on the season. And now he'll dive down to the inside line, does Denny Carroll. A lot of gutsy moves right there by the 41. Trying to literally slice and dice his way up to the front of the field. Might cost him a little bit there, though. He bailed on the outside line, which is getting the momentum again. Brian Rawson leading it with Craig Hagley and Brian Lovell. Right now, Rawson alongside of Denny Carroll for the 5th position. Jeffrey Elliott continues to lead. Now, here's an interesting scenario for the 56, because I think that he is, along with Gary Mingus, the 2 drivers who cannot mathematically make it the rest of the way on one more pit stop. They're about 3 laps shorter on fuel than everybody else, most everybody else, that came to pit road there at the 1 to green. It'd be even closer for the drivers that did come to pit road only on the first lap of our only caution of the night. Especially with the fact Jeffrey Elliott is out in this clean air, creating the draft for everybody else behind him. That is definitely going to put him at a fuel deficit. So Jeffrey Elliott and Gary Mingus, they were under the hope that we're going to see another caution, preferably before we end up getting to that second round of pit stops, which, as I said, for a few drivers could maybe be their final trip to pit road here tonight. Well, we had 27 drivers take the green flag here tonight. Prior to that first caution, all 27 were running and on the lead lap, but we have our first retiree from tonight's season finale. Unfortunately, the wild ride for Randy Waugh that we saw him, the tumble he took over in 3 and 4, has taken him back behind the wall. He'll get credited for the 27th position. The remaining 26 drivers are all on the lead lap, are up to speed, and are in this lead pack all the way back to Alex Moe. Tom Dixon's actually lost the draft now that I've looked, and Nate Balser has also lost the draft. Scoring had actually not updated itself yet, so we've got 24 of our 26 drivers up in this lead pack. Tom Dixon, I don't think is off the pace. I think it's just the case if you're that last truck in line, it is very difficult without somebody pushing you to stay locked up to the lead group. Right now, Alex Moe is that last truck, so we'll see if he's able to keep in touch with the other 23 drivers ahead of him. Tom Dixon, though, has fallen off. And Nate Balser, I would have to assume, might be dealing with the damage sustained from the earlier wreck. Drafting right now with Tom Dixon, which is going to help both of those drivers, if this thing continues to stay green, to not get lapped sooner than if they were both running all by themselves. We are more than halfway home here tonight in the season finale for the Fast and Furious Truck Series, the Talladega Nights Series. Yeah, it's a doubleheader here this weekend for Talladega Nights on the Flatout Racing Network. Tomorrow night, 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we are right back at the Talladega Nights Super Speedway, as it will be the Shake and Bake Series season finale with the championship on the line. 5 drivers going to be duking it out in that one. And we will be looking forward to bringing you coverage of that race, crowning 2 champions here this weekend in Talladega Nights. Well, Denny Carroll and company say, all right, enough is enough. We're tired of riding. About a half dozen of them jump up to that second lane. Brian Lovell, Ken Roberts, Brian Rawson, Craig Hagley up there as well, trying to make something happen. And ooh, things got very broken up there. Mark Paglia going to take it 3 wide with Rodney Sullins. Those 3 or 4 drivers, Chris Elliott with them as well, have been really working, trying to get that third line going. Everybody kind of stalled out. Everybody just kind of got formed up for a couple of laps, but now they're getting antsy and they're wanting to get racy again. Denny Carroll, big push there from Brian Lovell. He's going to clear for the top position going into 3. Look at Ken Roberts. He moved from the middle up to the top there with Mark Paglia. He's trying to find his way back up to the front. Right off of turn 4. How about 3 wide for the race lead coming around here to the start-finish line? Who's going to get the lap led? Looks like visibly, at least through the tri-oval, it's going to be Jeffrey Elliott, but it's going to be super close between the 56, the 41, and the 55. Ken Roberts now trying to clear himself off the nose of Denny Carroll, not able to do it this time as the 2 middle line and outside lines battle each other. Inside line's getting the advantage. Jeffrey Elliott is clear, I believe, for the lead. Nope, as soon as I say that, that outside line against the wall gets a heck of a run down the back straightaway. Now loses that ground into turn 3. We'll look to gain it back again here as we exit off of turn number 4. Middle line starting to fall back with Denny Carroll, Brian Lovell, and Craig Hagley. Looks like now Steven Brandstetter has kind of adopted the same strategy Gary Heiser has been utilizing the entirety of this race, kind of riding at the back. Steven last time by was scored in 21st. Heiser right now in 20th. As still going to be door-to-door, wheel-to-wheel here down the backstretch between Elliott and Roberts. Going into 3, the momentum the 55 is able to get on the top side. He loses ground through the corner, but then is able to gain it back on the straightaways. So it's kind of like a back and forth, like a seesaw between those 2 drivers. Corner advantage for the bottom, straightaway advantage for the top. Drag race to the line here between those 2. And scoring says that time it was Ken Roberts that actually led the lap. How close was it is the question. We will wait for official scoring to update itself. 5 1/1000ths. Imagine if that had been the championship right there for Ken Roberts, if that had been the final lap. Ken has mentioned you don't have to win the race to be able to win the championship, but for Ken Roberts, Steven Brandstetter, and Craig Hagley, they're all still looking for their first win on the season and get the championship. As now it looks like the 2 drivers that elected to stay out under the caution, Jeffrey Elliott and Gary Mingus, are on pit road. This is with 26 laps to go. There is no way those 2 drivers can make it the rest of the way without coming to pit road at least one more time. So now the ball is in the court of these drivers, as those 2 come into pit lane, help that third line with Denny Carroll and Brian Lovell. 3 wide for the lead as you've got some more Lovells on the bottom. That's Greg Lovell in the 088 getting pushed by Dan Lovell in the 338. Oh, and look at this. Now we're going to have Lovell, nose to tail on the inside line. Brian, Greg, and Dan behind the 41 of Denny Carroll. Battle for the championship was almost side by side between Ken Roberts and Craig Hagley. Hagley up in that third lane. Now is going to find a line in front of Rodney Sullins in the middle groove. Going to see the 12 of Gary Mingus here in a minute. They're going to catch him. Oh, Gary Mingus is going to get hit by Denny Carroll. We've got the big one. The big one is struck. Look for your championship 4. One truck way up in the air. That was Greg Lovell. got another truck flipping. That's Chris Elliott on his roof. Alex Moe gonna be the good Samaritan and flip the 9 truck back over, but it may be for not. That truck looks pretty much toast. There is Greg. Oh, and then Tom Dixon just plowed into Mark Paglia there off of the turn 2 and onto the back straightaway. Second caution of the evening, and it is a big one. And I'm not really sure all of what happened. Looked like massive miscommunication. Gary Mingus was coming off pit road. He pulls up in front of the race leaders, and that Denny Carroll, in an attempt, I guess, to avoid him, went down to the apron, runs into the back of the 12, and shoots back up the racetrack. Brian Rawson, he's done. Oh, man, that is championship over for Craig Hagley as he's on pit road. Hard to tell if there's damage on the 55 of Ken Roberts or not. There's Steve Brandstetter. Looks like he got through it. I believe Gary Heiser also got through it. I saw him as we were focused on the 99, or on the 9 truck rather, spinning like a top on his roof. I saw Gary Heiser right against the inside wall working his way by, but it's the 243 trucks, the 043 of Brian Lavelle and the 43 of Bob Dixon that are going to be the 2 race leaders here. This caution also comes out prior to when drivers would have been able to make it the rest of the way. We are going to be taking a look at quite a number of replays. As already Denny Carroll has gone behind the wall, and officially they are now pushing the 82 of Craig Hagley back behind the wall. What a tough break there for the 82. Up inside the top 10 really all night long. Now let's try and figure out where this all goes wrong. We're going to go all the way back to the start-finish line and watch the left side of your screen. You're going to see the purple number 12 of Gary Mingus. He's coming back onto the racetrack. Now, the ruling is that you can merge back onto the track into turn 1. But then right here, it's like he sees the leaders coming. He decides to go to the apron. Oh, wait, did Denny Carroll get a bump from behind by Brian Lovell? I wonder if that's what shot him down into Gary Mingus. Ram McDonald's involved. Bobby Farrell is involved. It's going to take a while to document everybody that was caught up in that. I think I might have seen the 23 of Doug Kulik was collected in it. Let's go back, take another look, and let's focus on the 043 of Brian Lovell. Does he give maybe an errant bump in the corner to the race leader, Denny Carroll? Let's see. It does not look like it. Does not look like there was any contact. The 41 just drives down into the back of the 12, and you saw Greg Lovell. He completely cleared the catch fence. He was up above all 3 stories of that outside wall catch fence. And then watch right here with the 28 of Mark Paglia. He's trying to get going, and Tom Dixon and Nate Balser. Okay, so to be fair, they didn't come flying in. They had slowed their pace. And I don't think they expected the 28 was going to go up against the wall. They were trying to find a lane where they'd be able to avoid. And I believe we had a truck that was actually caught up in the catch fence. The 6 of Brian Rawson. See if we can find him and the wild ride that he took. Watch this. Right there, gets sent up into the catch fence and never is able to be released by it. My gosh. And Lovell was in that wreck. Alex Moe. There's Hagley. Mike Mangialardi, I think, was in it. I believe Ken Roberts got a piece of the incident. Let's focus on the 55. Ken was leading the outside line. Don't know how much of the contact he got. Oh, just gets clipped in the right rear quarter panel. Then back up the track. Oh, man, that's a big shot with the front end of the truck into the outside wall. There you see, right forefront of your screen, even Brandstetter was actually collected up as well. Don't think he got much damage. Robert Breedlove was in it. To be honest, it's probably going to be a lot quicker to name off the drivers that weren't involved rather than the drivers that were. Gary Heiser said he wanted to run at the back, keep his truck in one piece in case something happened. Exactly what he was able to do here. Let's go on board with the number 3 and watch all the chaos unfold in front of him. Oh, he actually did get a piece of it. Got into Dan Lovell, and then I think that was Chris Elliott that went flipping by on the left. That means all 4 of our championship competitors got bits and pieces of the wreck. Now it might come down to last man standing. I think out of all 4, Steven Brandstetter might have gotten the least amount of damage in terms of what it looked like for contact received. Now that really throws a very interesting dimension to this race for the remainder. Well, that caution was a big break for Jeffrey Elliott, who remained on the lead lap. Everybody came to pit road. He stayed out, so he's going to re-inherit the lead. Bob Dixon will be second. Looks like Keith Bynum, Bobby Farrell, and Steven Branstad are going to be the top 5 as we got some drivers coming back down pit road. Not surprised, because like I said, the caution came out prior to what the fuel window would have been to make it the rest of the way. Now those drivers coming to pit lane might possibly be able to make it the rest of the way. It'd be very, very close. Have to wait and see. We're waiting for the official word of the drivers that are not going to reach the conclusion. We named off a couple of them. It looks like at this point in time, Mark Paglia, Denny Carroll, Craig Hagley, Gary Mingus are going to finish out the season finale with a DNF, joining Randy Waugh back in the garage area. The 6 of Brian Rawson is still being scored in the race, albeit 2 laps down. Has not been scored with a DNF. They might be trying to repair that race truck, get him back out there. But I don't know. When you're hood first into the catch fence, I'm not certain if you're going to be able to get back out there or not. We'll wait and see if he's still sitting on pit road or if he's actually been... Oh, he has actually been able to get back out onto the racetrack. So apparently it didn't kill the engine. Brian Rawson will look to finish out this race as best as he can. He's going to pick up a spot on Mark Paglia completing that lap, and he's going to pick up another spot because another driver has just now made the left-hand turn to the garage area. We saw him way up into the atmosphere on the back straightaway. Greg Lovell is now out of the race in the 088. Looks like he's going to get credited for 22nd place here tonight. So Brian Rawson will be the only driver off the lead lap of the 21 drivers remaining. 20 drivers will be on the lead lap, but with all the contact and all the damage sustained we saw in that big wreck from turn 2 onto the back straightaway, who is up to speed and who is not? Especially the big question concerning our championship 4. Well, we can now make it championship 3 with the DNF of Craig Hagley. It's now Heiser versus Brandstetter versus Roberts. And all 3 of those drivers are getting prepared to restart up inside of the top 6. Make it top 8, rather. Brandstetter will be 5th, Heiser in 6th, and Roberts in 8th. Jeffrey Elliott elects the top side, and he gets us back underway. 20 laps to go here at Talladega Nights Superspeedway. Bob Dixon was ready for that green flag. He'll look to clear Jeffrey Elliott off of turn 2. Not quite going to be able to do it down the back straightaway. Middle line comes thundering back, heading into turn 3. Bobby Farrell offering the drafting help to the 56. It's Keith Bynum down on the bottom, helping Bob Dixon. Side by side for the championship there, 5th position. The 3 of Gary Heiser on the top, the 5-10 of Steven Brandstetter on the bottom. Ken Roberts there as well, and caution is out. Yellow flag out for the 3rd time tonight. And I'm not certain who it was for. Nobody around from what I was able to see. Wonder if maybe something happened with the 6 of Brian Rawson. Take a look and see if we can find out why the yellow flag waves. Does not look like anybody had an issue there. Gonna go back to the restart. Look at the rear of the field, see if we can pinpoint the time that the yellow flag comes out, see if we can find out who it was for. Brian Rawson off the pace there in the 6. Doesn't look like he had any problem. Try and find the exact moment that the caution comes out here. Maybe we'll be able to decipher a reason. Had a moment right there where our feed went fuzzy for a minute. I'm wondering if maybe the server had a brief issue or something. Might have had a blinkage and may have been an admin thrown caution to make sure that everybody was going to be good to go. We're able to see everybody here on our end, but I'm wondering if maybe everybody disappeared on everybody else's respective ends there, and so doing the prudent thing, throwing the yellow flag and giving everybody a chance to reappear. Nobody had an issue there, so caution out for the 3rd time here tonight. That's a godsend for Jeffrey Elliott, because now he can come to pit road, and he should be good to make it on fuel. Had a couple of other drivers dive onto pit lane with him, including Sean Dotson, Nathan Balser, Chris Elliott. Drivers that have been to pit road under the last caution, they can throw in the clutch, and they should be able to save enough now to reach the conclusion of tonight's event. Question is, though, what lap are they racing to? Because if we get past lap 62, more than likely, next flag is going to end the race, whether it be the caution or the white flag. Brian Rawson, I believe, with this yellow flag, is going to get one of his 2 laps back, so now he will be -1 to the race leaders. Let's see if we've got the opportunity here to dial up one of our final 4 competitors. Played the early game of riding at the back, and now he's going to restart up in the 4th position. Let's see if we can dial up the driver of the 3, Gary Heiser, real quick.
User was moved to your channel.
Hey, Gary, Seth up here in the FRM booth. You got a moment to talk?
Yeah, what's going on, brother?
Well, we heard from you earlier on tonight with the Championship 4 interviews. You had the goal of riding at the back, keeping that truck in one piece. We saw you make your way through that big one. Now we see you up here. Is this the point now where we stay up at the front and try and stay ahead of any other future mayhem?
Oh, absolutely, man. You can't go backwards at this point. You know, with 18 laps to go or 17 when the green flag drops, yeah, it's go time, man. Can't do nothing but try to press forward.
Well, we were on board with you when you were making your way through that wreck right up at the front of the field, a very difficult area of the racetrack, too, to be able to avoid spinning trucks off turn 2 and onto the back straightaway. A lot of different directions that trucks can migrate to. How much of that was skill? How much of that was luck? Because it was pretty fun to watch.
Man, you learn to, when you first see the smoke, to get on the binders, to stay out of trouble and hope you don't get no damage in it. And luckily during that one, I didn't get no damage, didn't hit nobody. So we got through that one pretty good. A lot of the other contenders got some damage. So hopefully it helped us out a lot.
Obviously riding at the back for a majority of this race, but we mentioned the fact that you're the only one of the Championship 4 that has had the ability to go to victory lane twice this season. So what from those 2 previous wins you able to apply here tonight to try and get win number 3 for truck number 3, try and wrap up this championship?
Just race the same way that I've raced before. I hardly ever qualify for a race, and I like to start at the back, let the wrecks happen up front, because usually that'll weed out the really strong contenders. And once those happen, you know, get on a good pit strategy like we said earlier, pit with the guys that you know can pit good, and hopefully it plays out at the end that you're in the position I'm in right now.
Well, Gary, well done on getting through that wreck. We see you up here inside the top 5 for this upcoming restart. Best of luck.
All right, brother. Appreciate you, man. Thanks.
User was moved out of your channel.
Got a little bit of time here. We're going to be getting the 1 to green this next time by. Let's see if we can dial up another driver that was kind of at the back for a time and now finds himself up inside of the top 10. Let's see if we can dial up the driver of the 510, Steven Brandstetter.
User was moved to
Hey,
your
Steven,
channel.
Seth up here in the FRM booth. You got me?
Yes, sir.
Well, I'll tell you what, we saw all 4 of our Championship 4 drivers get little bits and pieces of the big one, but I think that 510 got through the most unscathed. Little kind of a harmless spin for you, but you were right in the middle of that big one. How crazy was that? How scary was that? At any point you think, well, my championship hopes are done.
Oh, yeah. That was definitely in my mind. But I got lucky. I ruined my tires. But other than that, I put on new tires and fuel, and I'm good to go.
Yeah, we know you guys now can make it on what you've got in the tank, so you're going to be restarting up here, looks like in the 5th position. Have you got some kind of a strategy formulated here? Because still quite a ways to go. Going to be 15 laps remaining when you guys take the green.
Yeah, I'm going to try to push the 63 to the front.
All right, well, Steven, we'll let you get back to it. We see the lights are out atop the Chevy Silverado pace truck. Well done getting through that wreck with very minimal damage, if any. Maybe a couple of scratches on that Miller Lite Ford F-Series. We'll let you get back to it. Good luck.
Thank you.
User was moved out of your channel.
All 3 of our remaining 4 championship competitors are going to restart up inside of the top 6. All right next to each other. 4th place, Gary Heiser. 5th place, Steven Brandstetter. And 6th place, Ken Roberts. They'll be behind the trio of race leader Bob Dixon, Bobby Farrell, and Keith Bynum. Rest of your top 10, 7th, Mike Mangialardi, Robert Breedlove in 8th. Rodney Sullins trying to go coast to coast here tonight after starting the pole. He's 9th, and Dan Lovell is in the 10th position. Well, we've got a little bit of time. Let's run you down through the full running order here. Ooh, almost a little bump there from Brandstetter to Keith Bynum as they were checking up a little bit on that inside line. 11th place on this restart will be Brian Lovell. Ulysses Sandoval in 12th. Doug Kulik 13th. Alex Moe 14th. Graham McDonald's going to be in 15th. 16th, Nate Balser. Sean Dotson 17th. 18th, Chris Elliott. Tom Dixon's going to be 19th, and Jeffrey Elliott is going to complete the top 20. Keep an eye on the 56 of Jeffrey Elliott. That truck is up to speed, and I believe there are a couple of trucks ahead of him that are not up to speed. Going to have to make quick work of them to make sure he stays up with the lead pack. But it will be 15 laps left to go here tonight in the season finale for the Fast and Furious Truck Series at Talladega Nights Super Speedway. Bob Dixon is going to be the one to bring us down to the green, as it's an all Ford F-Series front row for our 3rd restart of the night. Bobby Farrell, Victory Junction Gang number 7 on the top side for a moment had the edge through 1 and 2. Now the inside line starts to get some momentum. Keith Bynum all over the back bumper of Bob Dixon, shoving him down the back straightaway. Dixon and Farrell will carry this battle into 3. Gary Heiser on the top along with Ken Roberts. Look at that, the 3, the 55, and the 510 all together, and Heiser's going to get up into the wall. Ken Roberts is going to get spun up into the 3. The 3 is upside down. Robert Breedlove up on top of Gary Heiser. Ken Roberts going to go down and hit the Armco barrier. Heiser continues to barrel roll. The caution is out for the 4th time tonight as Heiser is now on his roof. 2 more of our Championship 4 collected up. Big contact for both of them. And obviously too early to say it, but that could be championship decided right then and there. For Steven Brandstetter, Gary Heiser, I think his championship, I think his race is done. Ken Roberts took some pretty good shots there to both the outside wall and the inside wall. Does he have enough truck, have enough speed to continue on? Wow. That was the outside line, trying to get formed up. Might have been some bumper grab there between Gary Heiser and Bobby Farrell. And then as he was trying to save it, he gets Ken Roberts. Roberts comes down. I think he slid into the passenger side door of Gary Mingus. And then back up the racetrack into Heiser. And wild, wild ride for Heiser and Breedlove. Take you back to the replay of what happened as Heiser is on pit road. Probably hoping they can get that thing repaired enough so he can at least get back out there in case Ken Roberts or even Brandstetter run into some issues. Watch it here. Right there is where you can see the bumper grab. Heiser into the wall, and they had it saved, but then Roberts comes down, gets clipped by the 931. Look at right there is Robert Breedlove gets tossed into the air. And look at how the 3 truck of Heiser, it looks so light right there. It continues to flip and barrel roll on the access apron heading for pit road entry. Just had talked moments ago with Gary Heiser, and he felt good. 2-time winner on the season. Felt good about his chances. Maybe getting his 3rd win on the season, wrapping up this championship. But just like that, in the matter of a couple of laps, like his day is done. There's the hit again for Ken Roberts. Look at the Pepsi 931. Oh, and then Tom Dixon comes sliding in. The 45 into the back of Ken Roberts. Looked like the 502 of Ulysses Sandoval was also collected up. Go a little bit further back in the field. Rodney Sullins in the 38, I believe, got a piece. Here's looking at Ulysses. And he gets sandwiched into the wall there with Ronnie Sullins. Nate Balser involved. Oh, Ulysses actually went up and over. Had quite a number of trucks here in the last 10 laps that have taken some wild rides, some wild tumbles, some airborne rides as well. Try and figure out all who else was involved, as it looks like it is indeed night over, championship over for Gary Heiser. He's taken his truck back behind the wall. Rodney Sullins was up and over too. Wow. 4 trucks right there. The 931, the 3, the 38, and the 502 that all were flipping at one point or another. Looks like Sullins will more than likely not go coast to coast. Oh, and now we're hearing that the 029 of Mike Mangialardi, his engine just grenaded, and he was in the 5th position. How in the world did that happen? Mangialardi's been staying out of trouble pretty much the entirety of the night, and oh man, look at this. It was after they had crossed the line to start lap 54. He was scheduled to restart in P5, and right there, he doesn't downshift. It doesn't look like he money shifts. The engine just randomly goes south. That is a tough break for Mike Mangialardi, the Black Hawk down Ford. He's going to finish in 20th place out of the race. I don't know if with that taking place under yellow, if that's going to add an extra lap of caution onto pacing or not. We'll find out the answer to that when they make their way around to the start-finish line this time by. Well, we started out the evening with 4 championship competitors. We got about 2/3 of the way through the race, and then Talladega Nights Super Speedway decided, all right, I am going to play my part into deciding who's winning this championship and who is not. We've got 2 of our championship 4 back in the garage area. Craig Hagley was involved in the 3rd caution, the big one off of turn 2 and onto the back straightaway. His day is done. And just recently, Gary Heiser involved in this 4th and most recent caution, his day is done. He'll finish in 21st. So now it's a mano-a-mano battle between Ken Roberts and Steven Brandstetter. Right now, Brandstetter is going to restart in the 4th position. Ken Roberts came to pit road. It's a pretty extensive repairs to the number 55 after he was up into the outside wall and then took a pretty hard shot driver's side into the inside steel Armco barrier heading towards pit road entry. He is going to restart in 16th position. Big question is that truck up to speed? If it's not, then Steven Brandstetter just has to keep his nose clean, just has to stay ahead of the 55, and even if he finishes back in the 15th position, if Ken Roberts finishes 16th, Brandstetter is your champion in the Fast and Furious Truck Series. Definitely increases the odds of one of our non-championship competitors winning tonight's race. Bobby Farrell going to take Bob Dixon, the race leader, going to take the inside line for this upcoming restart. Keith Bynum will line up to his outside in 2nd. And it's Bobby Farrell in 3rd. 4th place, Steven Brandstetter. Brian Lovell will be in 5th. Dan Lovell in 6th. Doug Kulik 7th. 8th, Graham McDonald. Jeffrey Elliott now up to 9th. And Alex Moe is going to complete the top 10. Right now, we got 5 Fords up inside of our top 10, 4 Chevrolets, and 1 Toyota. Doug Kulik, that lone Toyota. This caution gives Brian Rawson the lucky dog. He is back on the lead lap now. Going to restart in the 18th position. Obviously off the pace, but back on the lead lap, and if we continue to trend the way we have for the last 10 laps or so, he may still have another shot at this victory. It will be 10 laps to go when we get back here to the start-finish line. Again, point of no return lap is around lap 62's completion. We've worked 4 caution flags so far here tonight. And we have 19 of our original 27 drivers remaining, all 19 on the lead lap. Again, want to remind everybody, tonight we're covering the championship battle for the Fast and Furious Truck Series for Talladega Nights, but it's a Talladega Nights doubleheader. Tomorrow night, we're right back here, 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, the Shake and Bake Series championship battle at Talladega Nights Superspeedway. Be sure to be here because tonight's race has been absolutely crazy in terms of the racing, in terms of the wrecks, in terms of the championship scenarios. Tomorrow night's going to be no different as we have a final 5 to compete for the championship in that one. Green flag back in the air. Bob Dixon going to get us back underway into turn number 1. Dixon looking for his first win on the season to cap off the year. Bob Dixon, I believe, was 13th in overall points coming into tonight. Right behind him, Bobby Farrell in the 7. Bobby came into this race tonight 30th in points after missing the last 2 races. Then behind him, you've got the 043 of Brian Lovell. Lovell 7th in overall points coming in tonight. All 3 drivers, though, winless here this season. How about Sean Dotson and Doug Kulik? Kulik in 4th, Dotson now up in 5th place. We haven't mentioned those drivers very much here tonight outside of maybe making some moves mid-pack. Now they're up here inside of the top 5. When it matters the most, they've survived all the chaos and they want a chance at this checkered flag. Dotson going to move up to the top side there with Jeffrey Elliott, Keith Bynum, and Steven Brandstetter. Now we're going to, for a brief moment, drop back here and see if the 55 of Ken Roberts is up to speed or not. Ooh, I think he might be in the scenario that we talked about earlier on tonight where you need to have someone behind you pushing you to stay up in the lead pack. I think that 55 might be down on power just a bit. So if you're Steven Brandstetter, do not do anything that's going to put you in jeopardy of losing this championship because right now the ball is in your court and you need to play it safe. Right now he's up in that 3rd lane with Keith Bynum and Jeffrey Elliott. I'm him, I'm trying to get down to the bottom, take whatever lane the 55 is running, play defense, do not let him alongside you or past you. Oh man, these trucks are moving around quite a bit too. We may not be done with yellow flags as we're 3 wide, 3 rows deep. Elliott on the top side, Brian Lovell in the middle, Dixon on the bottom. More drivers migrating up to that third lane. This time at the line, 7 laps to go at Talladega Nights Super Speedway. Dixon led that lap. Farrell looking to clear for second. Good run by that inside line through 1 and 2. Jeffrey Elliott in that third line making up a little bit more speed than the middle line with Brian Lovell. Elliott might be able to get himself clear of the middle line here. He does. Keith Bynum looking to do the same. Steven Brandstetter still up in that third lane on the right side, bottom right of your screen. You saw the 55 of Ken Roberts on the bottom. I think he's going to stay down there on that yellow line. The shorter way around the racetrack is his best friend right now. He does not have a truck that is fast enough to be able to lead a line. I think that if he went the longer way around the racetrack in the middle or outside line, that would also kill his momentum. He's just got to stay on the bottom of the racetrack, hope that that is the fast line, get himself up alongside of the 510, which he is not too far away from doing here. Oh, Brandstetter's going to get shuffled out by Sean Dodson. He's going to go to the back of this pack. Ken Roberts is going to get by him. Roberts now going to go to the championship lead, at least for the time being. Brandstetter's going to tuck in line in front of Dan Lovell. And now it's side by side between the 55 and the 510 for the championship. That's back around, I believe, the 9th position as they make their way around the slower machine of Brian Rawson. Jeffrey Elliott, and then momentum on that top side is stalled out just the least little bit. Now they're charging back here on the front straightaway. Elliott alongside Bobby Farrell for second as Dixon continues to show the way. So far here tonight, only 3 drivers have led laps in the double digits. Jeffrey Elliott has led the most at 15. Bob Dixon just led his 12th lap, and Rodney Sullins has led 11. Other drivers that have taken a turn out in front here tonight. 4 laps led for Denny Carroll, 3 laps led for Craig Hagley and Gary Mingus, and then 1 lap led apiece for Bobby Farrell, Brian Lovell, Brian Rawson, Gary Heiser, and Greg Lovell, as Jeffrey Elliott has gone to the point with a big push from Keith Bynum and Brian Lovell. And now they're all going to dive down to the bottom. Oh, I don't think Jeffrey got down there in time. Keith Bynum and Brian Lovell jumped down to the bottom. Elliott was not fast enough to cover the inside line, and now Keith's going to go to the race lead. Jeffrey going to stay up in that outside line. He's now got Sean Dotson offering him the drafting help. Brandstetter has been able to get back up there again as well, so he's, again, ahead of Ken Roberts by about 3-4 positions. Jeffrey Elliott going way, way up the racetrack there as Keith Bynum goes to throw the block. That's going to really break up that middle groove. Jeffrey Elliott's going to get shuffled out. Brandstetter now in the back bumper of Sean Dotson, as Dotson side by side with Bob Dixon for the 3rd spot. We're at the point of no return as well, as lap 63 on the board. Driver number 63 out in front. 63rd lap about to be completed. We're at 3 laps to go here tonight in the season finale. Brandstetter and Roberts are side by side again. That's for 7th place. That's for the championship. Oh, look out, Brian Lovell. I don't know if he got punted or not. He's down on the inside. He's going to save it. Comes back up the track right in front of Ken Roberts. That's going to stall out the 55. That's going to help Brandstetter at least for the moment. Good save there by Brian Lovell as we avoid the yellow flag here in the closing stages, at least at that point in time. And now it's Bob Dixon who moves into 2nd place behind Keith Bynum. Alex Moe is now up into 3rd place in the 48. Oh, Bobby Farrell on the apron there. 2 laps to go. These drivers are jostling for spots. They are moving everywhere. Somehow, we're still staying green. That battle for the championship, I keep one eye at the front and one eye in the mid-pack as the 55 keeps being able to charge back up alongside of the 510. Then Brandstetter gets the advantage. Then Ken Roberts accordions right back up alongside again. Dixon shows the nose to the outside of Bynum, left the door open. Alex Moe went down there, but he's going to get pinched down. Oh, almost gets hit in the back by Bobby Farrell. That really backs up the inside line. Sean Dotson, that might help him, along with Brandstetter and Elliott in that outside line. Can they make it back to the white? Just a couple 100 feet left to go, and they will get there. White flag in the air. 1 lap to go here in the season finale. Keith Bynum trying to hold him off. It's Dotson alongside Dixon for second place. Looking for a push, but it's a ways back to Brandstetter. Alex Moe going to give a big push here to Bob Dixon. Dixon goes high, blocked, looks low, blocked, goes middle. We might be 3 wide for the lead. We are. Dixon in the middle. Bynum on the bottom. Dotson cleared all 3 lanes. John Dotson going to cover the bottom. Brandstetter tries to get past Bob Dixon. Will he have a shot with a push from Jeffrey Elliott? What a move by the 091 Quaker State machine. He's going to cover the top. Blocks Brandstetter. Here comes Bynum on the inside. Sean Dotson. What a move on the final lap. He's going to win the season finale. And Brandstetter, Steven Brandstetter in the 510, he, I believe, has won the championship as he brings it home on the podium in second place. Ken Roberts will finish in 11th. He'll be second of the championship 4. The other 2 finished behind the wall. Keith Bynum is going to complete the podium here tonight. But the race win belongs to Sean Dotson. What a move on that last lap. They were moving, they were blocking for the lead. Dotson shoots up the middle, clears all 3 lanes, and then was able to cover every lane that had momentum from 3 to 4 to the front straightaway. And he's going to get to burn it down. His first win of the season takes place in the last race of the season. Well done to Sean Dotson. What a move. I'm not sure how he pulled that off, to be perfectly honest. Maybe when we talk to him down in Victory Lane, he can enlighten us. Sometimes you don't have a strategy in the closing stages of a super speedway race. You just go with your gut. If that was the case for Sean Dotson, his gut told him the exact right move to make. He gets to burn it down here tonight under the lights at Talladega Nights Super Speedway. What a race. Results are scrolling on the top of your screen. We'll look at the full finish results in a minute, as there you see dual burnouts. Sean Dotson with the win. Steven Brandstetter with the championship. Bringing it home in the second position. Look at that cloud of smoke right in front of the flag stand here on the front straightaway. Can't even see him. Last race of the season. Use up all that tire rubber. Use up all that fuel. Talladega Nights Super Speedway definitely had a part to play into who was going to win the championship, who was going to win the race. What a nail-biter of a finish. We're now going to show you the full finishing results from tonight's event. Gave you the top 3. Dotson, Brandstetter, your champion, and Bynum. Will be talking to them in just a moment. Brian Lovell brings it home in 4th. Alex Moe 5th. Bob Dixon in the 6th position. Jeffrey Elliott, who played a big part in Sean Dotson getting that race lead, pushed him on that top side down the back straightaway, will bring it home 7th. Bobby Farrell in 8th. How in the world did Robert Breedlove finish up inside of the top 10? He got airborne. He literally vaulted over Gary Heitzer under the last caution and somehow finished up in the lead pack. Apparently up to speed and gets 9th, and Graham McDonald going to finish in 10th. Ken Roberts gave it a heck of a try there on that last run to the checkers. Got alongside of Steven Brandstetter a couple of times, but just lost that momentum. It looked like on the final lap. He'll get 11th. Dan Lovell will bring it home in 12th. Nate Balser, who had a couple of incidents in the early going. Good run there in 13th to close out the season. Tom Dixon in 14th. And Doug Hewlick was the last driver to finish the race in the 15th position. We had a couple of retirees on that last run. Ulysses Sandoval, Brian Rawson, Chris Elliott all went back behind the wall, as did Rodney Sullins after we went green for what was eventually going to be the final restart to the checkered flag. As we head into our FRN post-race wind down, it's time to talk to these drivers. Hopefully they've had a chance to catch their breath after the action we saw there in the closing stages of tonight's season finale for the Fast and Furious Truck Series. Let's see if we can dial up the driver that brings it home in the third position here tonight, Keith Bynum.
User joined your channel.
Actually, looks like we may not have Keith available.
Hello, Seth. Yeah, I'll just drop down here real quick to let you know he had to take off quickly.
Okay.
So we do obviously the top three, and of course the championship himself. So without Keith, so I guess we'll unless you want to go ahead and grab Brian Level for fourth. It's up to you.
We could do that. We could definitely do that. All right, we'll
start with Brian. There you go.
Start with Brian then.
Yes, sir.
All right.
User was moved to your channel.
Brian, Seth up here in the FRM booth. You got me?
Yeah, man.
All right, well, you bring it home in the fourth position. We saw you up there in that final run to the checkers, very much in the conversation for this win. At one point, we saw you pushing the 43 up there to the front, and then we saw you pushing the truck on the outside up there to the front. Looked like you had a really good truck to be able to push, but what little more did you need to be the pushy, be the one that was getting pushed to that checkered flag?
I just believe I needed some clean air, and man, it was a battle pretty much the whole race. At the end, it was really interesting. Had a couple of cautions, but we made it through it 4 wide at the end.
Now, obviously, we saw two pretty huge wrecks there around the halfway point leading into the 3/4 point of this race. At that kind of a point in time, you were able to get through relatively unscathed on both occasions. Do you kind of have to look around, try and figure out who's up to speed, who am I able to work with, kind of change your strategy around?
Yeah, my family, I have them, we work together as guys from Big Stone, and I also usually I might have a Wolfpack teammate in here every now and then, but we didn't have anybody tonight. And then there's some other guys, Hagley and Brad Love and like the Elliots. And, I try to work with those guys, a couple of guys from RTG. But all in all, man, I got pretty much unscathed in a couple incidents. So it was luck, pure luck.
Started sixth, bring it home in fourth place, up inside of that top five pretty much all night long. How difficult is it in a field like this to keep yourself up to the front and preserve that track position?
With the competition we have with all these drivers, man, it is really you got to have your head on a swivel, and you really have to pay attention, all around you with the checkups and. The bump, like bumper grabs that happen sometimes often, and there's a lot of great saves. And I mean, the competition here is just, it's unreal, man. It's some of the best competition I've ever been included in.
Well, obviously very consistent this season. You came into tonight 7th in overall point standings and a solid outing here tonight in the season finale, bringing it home in the 4th position. Congratulations. And before we let you go, we'll give you the opportunity to thank some sponsors and do some shout outs.
Yeah, I'd like to, of course, thank my Wolfpack racing teammates, Brad Otto and Adam Simonic, Jeff Havoc, and Dave Ellens and Denny Carroll. Man, there's so many guys that I could mention that I've raced with in different leagues over at FSB, and I'd like to give them a shout out. I've not been racing there lately, but I miss all those guys over there. But all in all, I'd like to thank you guys for what you've done, starting tonight, moving forward. And I'd like to thank the Elliott guys, uh, all the admins for what they do, and of course, I've got to give a shout out to the Big Stone Gap boys.
Well, a fourth place position to finish out the season finale for the Fast and Furious Truck Series. Brian Lovell brings it home inside of the top 5 here tonight. Congratulations on a job well done. Great job getting through those wrecks, keeping that track position, and ending out the season with a solid finish.
Yeah, I appreciate it, Seth. And man, I know you do a good job with the broadcasting. I've always looked up to you guys, watched a lot of your races, and keep up the good work, man.
Appreciate it. It's Brian Lovell. He brings it home in the fourth position
User was moved
here
out of
tonight.
your
As you heard,
channel.
we're unfortunately not able to talk with Keith Bynum, who brings it home third place in the podium. We're going to do something a little bit different from what we normally do. Normally, we bring in the second place finisher, but the second place finisher is our champion, and we usually save the champion for last. So we're going to go immediately down to victory lane, see if we can dial up the driver of the 091, Sean Dotson.
User was moved to your
Hey,
channel.
Sean, it's Seth up here in the FRM booth. Got a copy?
I got you, Seth.
I'll tell you what, first off, I was amazed you guys were able to make it back to the white flag and then to the checkered flag without wrecking, because there was a lot of beating and banging and bumper grabbing there on the back straightaway on that final lap. But I have to ask you, how in the world did you find the right area there on the backstretch to be able to clear all 3 lanes before you got into turn number 3? Because from the camera angle we had, it almost looked like you were probably going to be in the lane that was going backwards by the time you got to the third corner.
I'll tell you, I don't know. It just worked out that way. I worked the middle with me and Brian Lovell were working really good in the middle. And then you had to move down to the bottom and back to the middle, but the middle was where I was the best at. And then I got that run on the last lap. There was just a run right up the middle. It really won it for me.
Obviously, the name of the game tonight was keep the truck in one piece. With those 2 big wrecks after the halfway point, a lot of drivers did not meet that quota. You were kind of right in the middle of both of them, but able to get through relatively unscathed. I mean, first off, how were you able to do that? And secondly, I mean, was that a key factor into you having a truck able to battle in the closing stages tonight?
Well, yeah, for sure. You gotta keep the fenders on it. And that's kind of my game plan, is to stay in the back for most of them, just kind of scan and watch for wrecks. And when I see them, just react fast. And that's how I'm able to avoid most of those wrecks. So yeah, I got it. It's a little luck. You get a little luck involved with it, but came out clean today. So yeah, it worked out.
Obviously, with it being the season finale, different drivers having different agendas, but with not being in the championship battle, missed a couple of races this season. Did you, especially in the closing stage of this race, just kind of have the mentality of bring home the trophy or bring home the steering wheel, because there's no other races for the remainder of the season after tonight?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, when you get in that position where you're up front, you don't really think about that. It's just instinct to go for it. So yeah, that never really crossed my mind. I was in that position and I was just going for it. And you're right, it was dicey up there. There was a little bit of door banging going on, and it was definitely fun.
Well, a heck of a move on the back straightaway on the final lap, able to clear the 3 wide heading into turn 3 and then keep them all at bay back to the start finish line to pick up the victory to cap off the season here in the Fast and Furious Truck Series. Sean Dotson, your winner here tonight. Congratulations on a job well done. Before we let you get back to your celebrating, the floor is yours for Victory Lane. Thank you, sponsors, and shoutouts.
Well, Quaker stayed on the truck, a good sponsor, so thank them. I got to thank Jeffrey and all the Elliots here at Talladega Nights and all the admins and everyone. And shout out to you for stepping up and doing these few races for us. Really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Well, that's Sean Dotson. He gets the final checkered flag of the season here tonight at Talladega Nights Super Speedway. The 091 parked in Victory Lane. Congratulations on that victory. Continue to enjoy it.
Thank you, Seth.
User was moved out of your channel.
And another driver that was able to do some burnouts here tonight, because he is your champion, is Steven Brandstetter. Let's see if we can go down and get a word with him now.
User was moved to your channel.
Steven, Seth up here in the FRM booth. You got us?
Yes, sir.
Oh, man, I'll tell you what. We talked to you under that caution. You told us your strategy. Didn't realize that the script was kind of going to flip there just a couple laps later with the 55 and the 3 running into trouble. You were really the only one of the championship 4 here tonight that brought that truck home in one piece. But it was a bit of a nail biter in the closing stages. We saw Roberts was able to get alongside you a couple of times in that battle for the championship, but then end of this race, C's start to part. You work your way up there into that second position. The runner-up spot locks you up the championship. How much of a sigh of relief must you be feeling right now?
Oh man, you just can't believe it. And that is a nail biter. Those guys, oh man, everybody here is great drivers.
Obviously, in the closing stages, we saw a lot of drivers duking it out at the front, a lot of blocks being made. At that point in time, were you maybe thinking, I might want to back out of this, make sure I don't get caught up in the last lap wreck? Or were you basically just like, if I'm going to keep that 55 truck behind me, I got to go full throttle. I got to keep my foot in the gas and just make sure that if something happens, that I've got myself an exit route back to the checkered flag.
Yeah, man, I couldn't let off. I thought about even trying to get around Sean. I mean, but Sean, he was doing such a good job, and I didn't want to cause a wreck. I figured that'd be the end of it if I did. So I just hung in there with him.
Obviously, with this championship, going to be going into, if this series returns for another season, you'll be going as the defending champion. So, during the off season, what are we thinking here? Are we thinking we've got this championship, now we can go out there and have fun, or do we want to back this up with another championship?
Well, we still got quite a few races to go here, but I just like to win a race. I've come in second so many times. It's just unreal.
Well, second place here tonight, but it nets you the championship in the Fast and Furious Truck Series. Congratulations on a job well done, keeping that thing in one piece, out of trouble, and there when it mattered at the end. Before we let you get back to celebrating that championship trophy, the floor is yours for thank you sponsors and shout outs.
You bet. I'd like to thank you guys for the broadcast, and especially Jeffrey, Elliott, and everybody else that's been involved in this the whole season. There was a lot of work put in this, and people just don't realize what it's like.
Well, it is official. Steven Brandstetter is your Fast and Furious Truck Series champion after bringing it home second place here tonight. Congratulations once again on a job well done. Tremendous execution from start to finish in the race. Go and enjoy this championship victory, Steven.
Thanks, sir.
User was moved out of your channel.
And that is going to bring our coverage to a close here in the first leg of our doubleheader weekend here for Talladega Nights. Steven Brandstetter wins the championship in the Fast and Furious Truck Series behind Sean Dotson, who gets the final checkered flag of the season. But tomorrow night, it's the Shake and Bake Series, as we're going to have the Cup cars on the racetrack back here at Talladega Nights Super Speedway. Your final 5 competing for the championship in that one. That'll be 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time tomorrow night. Do not miss it. Appreciate everybody tuning into our coverage here tonight of the Fast and Furious Truck Series. Hope that you guys enjoyed it. Until tomorrow night, though, I'm Seth Cole, and you've been watching another broadcast courtesy of FRN, the Flatout Racing Network.
This broadcast is the copyrighted work of Flatout Racing Network and may not be rebroadcast, retranslated, or used in any form without the express written consent of Flatout Racing Network and iRacing.com Motorsports Simulations. Flatout Racing Network would like to thank you for your support, and we hope you enjoyed tonight's broadcast.